Hi. So today I'm going to talk about a topic, a very serious topic, um, and it's working in foster care. It has to do with incest, foster care kids and incest. Um, One of the downfalls of foster care, and I may have mentioned in my other videos, is that kids are not around their parents, their birth family. They're usually raised in households, licensed professionals like myself, and a lot of times due to um, how the family reacts or how they are reacting to the situation, which a lot of times are kind of negative. You find that foster care providers tend not to want to have to deal with the kids' parents and the baggage that comes along with that. And even though it takes away some stress from the caregivers and allow them to focus on raising the kids, the downfall to that is that the children don't get to know their family or who are their relatives, their blood relatives. Now, the situation a couple earlier this month, not this month, over the summer, um, one of the girls that I was taking care of, she was a little fast, going through that retard stage, teenage years. Um, so I was messing around these boys, and whatever I talked to her about, I talked to her, and everyone talked to her. My parents spoke to her. Her own family members spoke to her about certain things, members of her family, and she wouldn't listen. She wanted to be in these relationships, mindless relationships, and she. It turned out one of the boys she was messing around with turned out to be her cousin. Um, because one of her other cousins that lived with me at the time, the boy and him met up. They were going somewhere, and they get it talking, and they mention his cousin and say, "Oh, that's my cousin." So he came home and told her, "You've been messing around with your cousin." And fortunately, they didn't go beyond probably making out and things like that. Obviously, it was behind my back. Um, but it's a very serious issue because a lot of times we're in the same demographics, the same location where the family members are, and the relatives are not far away. Usually, people come out from foster care. Kids come out from neglected families or people with low means, no means, lack of education, really has no interest in anything. Probably a lot of drug related issues, drug use, some abuse, at least the ones I'm dealing with, mainly from neglect, um, issues and drug use. So in that scenario, the kids are removed. They're in my care. They've been in my care for 8 years, and even though I have a fairly good relationship with some of the family members, they're not around as often. They got their lives to live. Some of them are young, they're, in their early 20s. Older brothers and sister. Some of them are still in college. Some of them trying to get their life together. So the relatives, that blood connection, visiting family members, having cookouts and things like that. They do all that stuff within my home, but it's not in their family, so they don't know who's who. And that's a big disadvantage, I think, with the foster care system, is that kids do not get to know their birth relatives and family, and it could lead to something like that, especially if a child that's you know is craving some form of attention that they can't get at home, like in my situation, um, so if you all have any questions or comments, leave it in the comment section below. If you have any more further insight in that, a lot of time, with the advent of the internet and social media and things like that, kids teenagers are more exposed and more targeted, can be more easily targeted and convinced into getting into relationships and things like that. And we as parents have to be even more vigilant. And when most of us, a lot of tools are taken from us, and our ability to actually to act, to reprimand our kids in certain ways, or that may could be considered abuse, either through spanking or doing extra cardio, believe it or not, is considered abuse. Things like that. Fortunately, because I'm in a boxing program and my kids box, when they get out of line, I just put them in the ring with another fighter, let them get a butt whooping that way. Um, and they get to defend themselves and work on their skills and all that stuff too. So it's like a two for one. Um, so I mean that's my little thing on foster care kids and incest. It increases that chance because family members are poor, so they don't really migrate out of the area, and the kids tend to, because they don't know who's who, and a lot of times they end up going to the same schools, and because they have that bond, that family bond, that genetic bond, they might be attracted to each other, find a lot more that they have a lot more in common, that can lead to the wrong kind of affection, and it's traumatic to the kids when they find out. And it's just very traumatic. So hopefully there'll be something in place, some kind of policy in place where, or some kind of practice in place where kids can actually spend time with their families without two and relatives at certain events. Right now, if the foster care parent doesn't want to be involved with something like that, um, maybe one of the older kids that can drive can be the one responsible for taking the kids to the various family events. That's what I have done in the past, to get the oldest one who drives, is in college, and have him take them to see their family and things like that, spend a couple of days and return. And at times, well, I've done it once, with spending the days, because it's completely against policy. But I strongly believe that kids need to know their family, because there's only so much I can teach them. There are a lot more things that they can learn from their family members that they could never really learn from me, because I have a different background, different way of thinking, and I do not carry the same genetic makeup as them. So um, hopefully this video helps some of you guys. If you want me to comment more detail about it, leave a comment question in the comment section below. Like the video if you do, and subscribe. You all have a good day.